Oh, I'm looking forward to this. The previews are back. This is Full Time Devils. My name's Gaz Drinkwater. You've got Jay Motti over there. Jay, say hi.
Hi.
John, say hi.
Hi.
Adam, say hello.
Hi.
Oh, fucking hell, honestly, one thing I ask. Right, let's get stuck into it. AC Milan is the friendly, and this is a bit more than a friendly, I think, especially bigger than that last essential testimonial match that we had last time against Christiansen. AC Milan in Cardiff. Is it time to get real now, Adam?
Hopefully, you'd like to see some sort of performance out there. Obviously, still the result doesn't really matter unless you're counting the ICC Championship of the World as a trophy. Now, I know Spurs and their players have been tweeting about the Audi Cup like it was their first trophy, but we're not in that stages of sadness yet. So in terms of the result, it doesn't matter too much, but I want to see a good performance. We've got Chelsea coming up first game of the season. Second game of the season is against Wolves. So we've got a big test coming quickly in the league. Obviously, we still don't know about any new players, so we have to go with what we've got so far. And the players that we have, we need to see a performance from them. We need to see high energy. We need to see a high press. I thought Christiansen, the game, obviously, the opposition isn't the best, and we're not going to come up against anyone that weak in the Premier League. But I thought some of the play was actually okay, getting into chances, getting into areas of scoring. We just never took any of our chances.
John, how much weight are you putting on this game, mate? Because obviously we're not playing in the Community Shield this year, and a lot of people say that's a glorified friendly with a trophy. This is similar to that, isn't it?
To a certain degree, yeah. But I mean, when you look at it preseason, there's many aspects to it. When you first come into the squad after an extended period of time, your main goal is to regain your fitness and to try and rebuild that chemistry and that synergy alongside your players. Early on in the early stages of the preseason, I'm pretty sure that the first priority is fitness. But now that we've built up some sort of rhythm, we've had the players really just work extremely hard under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's new training regimen and whatnot. I'm sure Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's incentive to try and figure out his first 11 against Chelsea is definitely on his mind, and AC Milan will be a fantastic test in that regard. So I'm not too sure about whether or not this game against AC Milan is going to be Community Shield worthy in terms of the level of the game, but I'm definitely sure there's going to be a certain level of intensity that Manchester United is going to want to at least raise the game up to. I'm sure there's going to be a certain level of expectation that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to have on these players, much higher than the other games, especially given the fact that we're much more closer to the start of the season, and especially with the transfer deadline looming closer towards the deadline, we're definitely going to take things a lot more seriously in that respect, I think.
I mean, this is our last game before the season officially kicks off, Jay, and I think that the word that John used there, intensity, that's a key word going into this one. Just how much or how similar is our style of play going to be in this one to the first game of the season, do you think?
Well, you think logically you'd play sort of similar to how you want to start against Chelsea, so you think you'd see that style. We've seen it coming in over the last few weeks. We've seen Ollie sort of implementing his style into the team, getting that high intensity, that high press. And if you're going to take that into the Chelsea game, then you need to see it in the AC Milan game as well, because as Maka was saying, other people were saying, the Christiansen game was a glorified testimonial against children and players that were injured. So you can't really look too much into that. It was a bit of a joke at times.
Were we the children and players that were injured?
It was like, this guy's a United fan. Yeah, go on, chuck him on. He's on crutches, but he can have a go. And it was like, what am I watching here? So you've got to take this game more seriously. And it's not easy playing a high-press game when, okay, Ollie had, 6 months, is it, when he came in from Jose? But it's a totally different style now. That can take years in some cases. It took Klopp years at Liverpool to get that going. So you have to take these games seriously, because otherwise you don't want to be going into the Chelsea game saying, oh, we're not used to this system, or we're not quite up to scratch, because those excuses won't really wash. You need to sort of raise your game a little bit. And AC Milan, they're not the greatest team. I think they finished 5th or whatever, but they are a much better team than obviously Christiansen and some of the other teams we've played, and they are a good enough team to give you a test and a challenge. So yeah, I want to see the players go for it. I want to see the players putting in the effort as well. That looks like the sort of forcing the manager into thinking about them as well, because we've got one or two players who are sort of on the fringes who you don't know what the first 11 is going to be. There could be new signings coming in as well. So you just want to see the players putting in maximum effort.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to ask next, Jay. So staying with you here, mate. A few players that maybe are 50-50 for that first game, Pereira, Mata, maybe even some of the defenders as well with the injuries we've got. Do you think some players could play their way into that starting lineup that maybe Ollie is thinking he's not thinking about starting at the minute?
I mean, you saw it last season, didn't you? I know it was a different manager, but Pereira sort of forced his way in, didn't he, into the Leicester game after he had a good pre-season. No one saw that coming. And you think you've seen it again this pre-season. I mean, you have to take pre-season with a pinch of salt. You remember players like Jordi Cruyff, like Chris Eagles, Gabriel Obertan used to have good pre-seasons, but you wouldn't put them in your first team come the start of the season. But there are sort of players, as you mentioned there, that it's touch and go in it. You think, well, would you take Pereira over Nemanja Matic? Is that a decision that you can discuss? Would you have Mata or would you have Lingard or whatever? So I think that players should be at least trying to force their way in. Whether that the manager has his starting 11 against Chelsea already decided remains to be seen. And you've also got the sort of respect for the fact that players could be coming in. We could make some new signings as well. So even players that you think are guaranteed to start, if we make a new signing, if we do buy a Harry Maguire, for example, does that mean that someone like Chris Smalling isn't going to be in the first 11 who maybe would have been?
Leave Chris Eagles alone, man. He's a baller. John, what do you think? Any players in particular that Ollie's not considering starting at the minute, but after this game could fight their way into that starting lineup against Chelsea?
Jay mentioned a good point. He brought up names like Obertan, and that's obviously looking at it from the negative perspective. But if you look at it from the positive perspective, we've had players in the past who's had great preseason. Scott McTominay looks really sharp, ready to take that role on. But again, for us, it might look like it's a simple choice, given the fact that he did play a significant role last season. But is he going to really take over that role and take it away from Matic? And it's a question to be asked in that respect. So I'm looking forward to that. One player I did want to mention is Juan Mata. I think the last preseason and the preseason before that, he was also featured in many of the friendlies. He performs well, as does Juan Mata in any situation. He's a quality footballer, and at the end of the day, you take his quality, you take a lackadaisical game, you take players that are just kind of hanging about. Of course, Juan Mata is going to perform well, but once the Premier League kicks in, it's going to be a completely different story. So he's definitely going to be a 50-50 in that respect. You look at the squad from the defensive end, it looks a lot simpler to pick in terms of your starting back four. You look at the midfield, it kind of looks somewhat easy to pick, but now it looks like the front four, if you will, or the front three plus the striker, looks a little bit confusing, or looks a little bit left in the air for debate. So I think that's somebody that we can really be excited to look forward to. Is it going to be Juan Mata? Is it going to be Daniel James with Lingard? We'll have to take a look and see.
Adam, what do you reckon, mate? A chance for fringe players to fight their way into that Chelsea lineup still, or do you think Ollie's already decided his 11?
I'd imagine he knows probably about 7-8 of his 11. And he probably has an idea. Because when you look through the team, De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, you'd expect those to start. Lindelof. That's 4. Rashford, Martial probably going to start. Pogba likely to start. McTominay likely to start. And the back 4 is almost pretty much certain. So there's only a few spots in the team. Maybe Axel Tuanzebe could force his way into the starting 11 with Bailly's injury. You've got him, but I don't know what else he needs to do. He's already shown his quality. He's already shown how good he is. So maybe he should already be in that spot, especially without us having made a signing yet in that position. I think McTominay, if he hasn't already, should be ahead of Matic, but hopefully this is an opportunity for him to prove that again. And in the other positions, it's like, who's going to play behind the striker? Is it Jesse Lingard or Mata? Who's going to play out on the right? Is it Lingard, Mata, Daniel James? So those are the positions where you're left wondering, but most of the team, we kind of know who's the strongest player in those positions.
Okay, then predicted 11's time. We do this every preview, and we do like a league table. Have we set that up for pre-season, or is that set up for the new season?
No, I think that's going to kick off.
Start it against Chelsea.
Okay. We'll start the predictor league against Chelsea, but we work out an average score. But this is just a friendly for now. So, John Shin, what's your predicted 11 to play AC Milan, pal?
I'm going to go with a 4-2-3-1. I have David De Gea starting in goal. I'm going Luke Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka as my fullbacks, with Lindelof and Smalling starting as my central pairing, with Pogba and McTominay as the midfield two. When we have Martial on the left, I have Daniel James on the right. I have Lingard in the middle with Rashford up top. Yeah.
I like that. A lot of pace, a lot of flair. Sounds good. Jay, what's your starting 11, mate?
I'll go with a 4-3-3. I think Ollie will pick a relatively strong team. I'll go with De Gea in goal, Alan Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw as fullbacks. Lindelof, and I'll go with Tuanzebe. I think he might give him a chance. I think there might be, like Mac was saying, there might be a little question mark there. Is Tuanzebe ready to step up? I don't know if Ollie's looking at that. Maybe we don't get another signing. I don't know. But we'll go with that back four. In midfield, I'll go with Pogba, Scott McTominay and Nemanja Matic. And as a front three, I'll go with Jesse, Marcus and Anthony Martial.
Yeah, I do. I think he might go for Tuanzebe just to give him a chance. And if he has a howler, he'll go for Smalling in the first game. Adam, what do you reckon? What's your 11?
De Gea in goal, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Tuanzebe in the back four. I've gone for a 4-2-3-1. With our limitations in midfield and the lack of real selection, it's hard to see who comes in. I know Fred's looked all right, but he's still probably got to do a little bit more in terms of his pre-season fitness. Probably see McTominay, Pogba, Lingard, Martial, Rashford, and Daniel James.
It's good. I like it. I'm excited to see some of these lads play. It's going to be good, especially Daniel James, thinking he could be a bit of a surprise package.
I don't think Daniel James starts against Chelsea, though.
He could do if he has a good game against AC Milan, do you not think?
I think he's better from the bench. I know a lot of the players have to get their sharpness up and all that, but his crossing and his final ball needs to be improved upon a little bit. But I think coming from the bench, his pace, getting into those dangerous areas, pulling runners off the striker, it'd always be handy in a game, and it'd allow him to kind of just settle in a little bit as well.
Especially when fullbacks are tiring. I can't imagine anything worse than seeing Dan James coming on when you're absolutely breathing out your arse at the end of a game. Right, let's go on to the opposition. I know it's a friendly, so this AC Milan team could be anything, but I first want to say that we've been compared to AC Milan quite a bit over the last few years due to the sort of downfall of both the two teams, if you say. What do you make to that comparison, Jay?
I think that's pretty fair. I mean, when I was growing up, AC Milan were arguably the best team in the world. You know, they were winning European Cups, they were winning this Scudetto all the time. They had the sort of superstars that you could name. And now you look at them, and I think they didn't even make the Champions League last season, did they? I think they finished fifth. I think they got knocked out of the Europa League in like the group stages or something. Didn't win any trophies, and they've almost become like sort of fallen giants, if you will. They're not really up there with the likes of Juve and Inter. And if you look at it now in the transfer window, you know, the big names being sort of spoken about and the big transfers happening, you rarely hear AC Milan being spoken about as a team that are going for any of these big players. And again, you know, years ago, they were in for players. They were buying like the sort of superstars, your Beckhams, your Ronaldinhos and all the rest of it. And now they're sort of fallen by the wayside a little bit and been overtaken in Milan by Internazionale, who are the dominant force there. So I can see the comparisons. I think there is a bit of a sort of rebuilding job going on over there, just like there is at Manchester United. You know, they're always going to be one of the biggest clubs around because of the history and the fans and all the rest of it. But yeah, I can see why there is similarities. And I think in terms of this being a difficult game, this is a game where if this was in a cup competition, if this was the Europa League, you'd expect the strongest Man United team to beat the strongest team that AC Milan could put out. I would anyway.
I'm going to be totally honest. I grew up with AC Milan winning European Cups and stuff as well, and biggest team in the world. And it's such a shame when you look at them now, and especially when you're a Manchester United fan, because you almost think, is that the way the rest of the world views us? because I'm almost forgetting about AC Milan occasionally. And I'm like, are people forgetting about Manchester United? That's probably what's happening. John, your thoughts on AC?
I mean, it's very similar in many respects. You look at the club, the stature, the history, and all that. But one thing that separates Manchester United from AC Milan, I think, clearly is the financial, commercial strength of the club. I think Manchester United have really handled themselves better on a marketable standard. And I hate that I have to talk about fucking money when it comes to clubs, but it is what it is. And
that's what football is now.
And I think David Gill and Sir Alex Ferguson really did a fantastic job in that respect, really putting Manchester United on the map with respect to being a financial superhouse. And I'm not gonna give Ed Woodward fucking credit for that shit. So, hell no. But that's my point. Anyways, you look at AC Milan. They've made decent signings here and there, but given the status in Serie A and given AC Milan's, I guess, current situation, you're not really expecting much from them, and that's with the utmost respect for the club. But yeah,
Adam, what can you tell me about Milan, mate, and their current situation?
I wouldn't compare us to them. We could become that. I think there's been a little bit more sustained period, and obviously, as John suggests, the commercial value and obviously the value of Manchester United itself. I don't think these guys can go out there and, make some of the signings that we could possibly do. And I think we'll be back to successful ways maybe sooner than them, although that's probably me being a fan and being optimistic. They do have some very good players, though. And you look at their front line, Piatek's in there. He's a fantastic goal scorer. They got the young goalkeeper, Donnarumma, in the back, obviously at the back. We've still got some decent players, Kalinoglu, Andre Silva. So they have talent in their squad. It's obvious just Juventus are the mammoth team in Serie A. Inter Milan, Napoli, Lazio, they've all gotten stronger, while AC Milan have obviously stagnated or gone backwards. That's the unfortunate situation for most Italian teams, with the lack of finances there. And they haven't had Champions League for a while, which obviously hasn't helped in terms of bringing in money and bringing in players as well. So it's obviously difficult for them, but they've still got a talented squad of players, and it will still be a test for Man United. It's not going to be a walkover just because they're not the Milan of old. They're still a very good side.
Okay, then score prediction. Adam, we'll start with you. What do you reckon, mate?
2-0 United.
2-0 United, and we become the ICC champions.
I don't know if that 2-0 would. I think we need to do 3-0.
Oh, really?
Benfica are top with 9 points, 6 goals, and 1 conceded. We've only got 3 goals, 1 conceded. So we need to win 3-0.
Oh, I'd like to see us lift the trophy. That would be nice. It might be the last one for a while. John, what do you reckon, mate? Score prediction.
We're going 3-0 here.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
Yes. I like that.
Bottles.
I like that. Jay, what you say, mate?
I'll go with a boring 1-0 to United.
Crap.
So I was going to go 3-0, but I don't want to copy John.
Friendly against AC Milan, last friendly before the start of the season.
And then the Ollie Out campaign will start then.
I might go for a mad one. I think I'm going to say 4-2. 4-2 to United, which I'll be happy with. And obviously...
Just miss out on a trophy by goal difference.
Okay, then 4-1. 4-1 we'll have it. And obviously, all about fitness. Hopefully no one gets injured. That's the main thing, but hopefully we can see some promising performance in this one for the first game of the season against Chelsea. Cannot wait for that. Okay, guys, we've got loads of videos coming up on the channel. Keep your eyes peeled. Make sure you subscribe. Click the bell so it alerts you and all that. Not Adam. There's an actual literal bell.
Hey.
All right, catch you next time. Later.
Ooh, BBC, guys!